Happy Thursday to you, everyone. If you don't mind, I want to spend a little bit more time talking about altruism. Are dogs capable of having altruistic behaviors or even thoughts of doing those type of behaviors? I find it fascinating. I just do. I could probably shoot about 10 videos on this alone and I'd be happy. You'd probably be bored as stiff, but I'd be really happy. But it's a big head scratcher. It really is. Scientists have been befuddled about altruism, whether it exists, whether it doesn't exist in the animal kingdom, and really does it even exist in the human realm. Hey, but that's a video for another day, so I'm going to stick to dogs and social canids today. But as I told you when Richard Dawkins wrote his book, The Unselfish Gene, he very eloquently and portrayed the picture and definitely expressed a point that the quality to be expected in a successful gene is one of ruthless selfishness. That's right. Went on to say that we all have a little Al Capone in us. We got a little bit of that ruthless selfishness in our genes. And again, that's the byproduct of being born in a very hostile and very competitive world with limited resources. It is what it is. So we got to embrace the darn thing and just figure out how to manage it going forward. But back to our dogs in nature, again, scientists for years, ever since I was a wee little lad, it's been something I've always wondered. I've seen examples of it. I gave an example yesterday, my police dog Yager. I talked about the humpback whales that saved the Weddell seals off the coast of Antarctica. I've seen it. Several of you have written in examples of what you've seen as well. So is it there or is it like a UFO? Is it just something or like a Bigfoot type thing? Is it there? And it's really hard to explain, really hard to understand because, if helping were a matter of free choice, it really wouldn't be a good choice. It just wouldn't. As a consequence, it would cause you to lose benefits that could directly help your fitness, your individual healthness. It would impose, for example, an energy deficit, which could then inhibit and definitely be a detriment to your self-maintenance. For example, when wolves regurgitate food, that's a loss of energy. Yeah, they had all that energy in them, and they just regurgitated some, and now they lost some of that energy that they could have kept. Numero uno. So let's break this down and see if there's anything at all deep within us, deep within these dogs and our wolves, that drives them to perform behaviors that we believe is got to be very similar to altruistic behaviors. Okay, first things first. Step one, let's break it down. Here we go. First of all, when it comes to altruism, there's really two types. There's true altruism, and then there's apparent altruism. What's the difference in the two? Well, there's a big difference in the two. True altruism, wow, say that 3 times fast, is the permanent loss. That's it. The permanent loss of a benefit, a permanent loss of your fitness so that you can enable and enhance the fitness of someone else. Permanent. That regurgitated food, that energy that was in that food is gone. As soon as it goes down the hatch of your pups or anywhere else, it's gone. You're not going to get it back. Extreme examples of truism, true altruism. See, I told you, I knew I was going to mess it up. Another example of that would be, an extreme example would be that mother who throws herself on that grizzly bear who's trying to excavate her den. She loses an eye. She loses the ability in her locomotion. She no longer can run at top speed. These are all permanent losses to her direct fitness. But if the pup survives, she's successful in running off the bear, then her cubs will be an indirect recipient of her true altruism. But apparent altruism is temporary. And in most cases, it just boils down to time. Just time. Example are helper wolves. These are sometimes known as alloparents. Meaning you got the breeding pair, mom and dad. Sometimes they have to leave. They just do. It's going to require their hunting skills, their abilities, and this usually occurs when it's the first litter, first time that they're having a litter, the second time that they're having a litter. But the other litter, the first one, these children, these offspring are not old enough yet to really contribute greatly in a big hunt. So mom and dad will sometimes have to leave while they've got youngins in the den and someone needs to babysit them. And that's called apparent altruism. And that's what they will do. And why would an animal use or do apparent altruism? It's because it can actually enhance their fitness. And I'll get to that in just a second there. But typically the difference between the two is a permanent loss of any benefit that would directly enhance your fitness for someone else's fitness. And this is just temporary, a temporary loss. Maybe you give someone a loan and eventually they pay you back. So for a temporary amount of time, you were without the benefit of that sum of money until that sum of money was returned back to you. So that's the difference in the two. But this apparent altruism is one that we see the most in the wild. It truly is. And it's really one of the ones we see the most in the human realm as well. It is the typical alloparent. It is giving of something that is not permanent, but I'll get it back, or I just lost some time. And I'm sure that can be permanent, and that's getting way too deep. Yeah, why would an animal do that? To enhance its own fitness. Case in point, you take a 1-year-old wolf juvenile. By staying with the pack and not dispersing and being a babysitter when need be, and also providing some food to the cubs, it buys time to mature, to become larger, faster, stronger, a better hunter, so that when it finally immigrates out of the pack, it is more equipped to do so. So hanging out, doing some of the chores around the camp while the rest of the pack buys that animal, that individual, time to enhance their own fitness. So again, it kind of just boils down to your own fitness. All right, but from that, we call that, all those chores around the pack, we call that helper behavior. Helper behavior. And where did that come from? Where's helper behavior? What are you talking about, Brian? Well, social canids, like wolves and our dogs, are slow maturing mammals with a delayed dispersal. That's the hallmark of them. In comparison to other mammals, they are much slower in their maturation. And because of that, there's a delayed dispersing, meaning they grow up, finally after a few years, and they're off. Sound familiar? Just add more like a couple decades maybe, and then they're off for us humans. But they leave. And that is considered to be and thought to be the foundation of canid societies. So again, remember, I've told you from the very beginning, one of the first videos I did, was we dare not separate behavior from biology. And again, we're talking about our dogs who still share all of their mitochondrial DNA, but 0.2%. So that means if there's some gene, something deep inside of a wolf juvenile that says, don't leave yet. You need to hang around camp here a little while longer. Don't go ahead and out just yet. I know it's a big world, but it's not ready for you just yet. You need to hang around here. You need to be an alloparent. You need to do helper behavior, take care of the youngins, bring food, so on and so forth, do some scouting. You need to hang around so that you need to help while you're hanging around. You're just not going to loaf around on the sofa watching Netflix, you little young wolf juvenile. You need to help. There's no doubt that whatever gene that is, whatever part of their chromosomes that's motivating them to help, has got to be in our dogs. How could it not? How could we sit there and preach that there's all these other behaviors like jumping up? Why do they want to jump up? Get close to our face. Why do they want to get close to our face? So that hopefully we'll regurgitate food, or so that they can make a positive identification of who we are, so they can send the appropriate signals that reinforces dominance and submission from the ground up to from the top down, so on and so forth. Those couldn't be there if you didn't have helper behavior as well, especially when scientists consider it to be the foundation of their societies. It is the foundation. In fact, they say it is a prerequisite to the evolution. That this delayed dispersal is the prerequisite to the evolution of helping behavior. And helping behavior eventually increases the maximum fitness of the individual. The maximum fitness. Yeah, it boils down to that. Even though there's direct fitness, meaning I do this, something happens back to me. Man, that was great. My stomach's full. I killed that animal. I got to eat it. Yes. But then there's indirect fitness. I am the breeding male. By reproducing and by taking care of my offspring, giving them some of my food, giving them some of the energy I could have kept for myself, I am increasing my fitness indirectly. And then that all means that when you add direct fitness plus indirect fitness, it comes out to be your all-inclusive total fitness. You know, I've said many times that a lot of our relationship with our dogs is gastronomic. It truly is. No matter how much your dog loves you, you quit feeding, it's probably gone. It's going to disperse. But mixed in with all of that, again, is that, and this can all kind of even tie back to Richard Dawkins in his book, that selfish gene. You know, it makes sense. It has to be there. It truly does. After all, if you don't take care of yourself, then you're not going to be in any position to help anybody else. So it always does start with number one. Am I good? I can't protect anyone if I'm weak. I'm not going to be able to feed a whole lot of youngins if I don't improve my hunting skills and if I don't get up and go do the work. So that means it's always about number one, but because dogs live or they have inherited traits from social canines, that the foundation of their society is delayed dispersal, and because of that, you will have helpers who can help the pack grow and keep it safe. For that reason, there must be genes that say helping, even though it's about you. There are moments in which helping will help you. God, it goes a whole lot deeper than that, guys. A whole lot deeper than that. But I do believe that that is one of the stones that helps you cross that pond of questioning, of wonder. Why did Yager do what he did? Why did a humpback? Well, I mean, there are examples, so many of them outside of the social canine societies, outside of our own homes. Why would a dog run into a burning house to retrieve a child? Why? Is it because it has apparent altruism? Is it because it has a helper gene deep inside of it? That says, I have to help. That's what I'm supposed to do. Don't know why I'm supposed to do it because I'm a dog. Haven't quite tuned that in just yet like the wolves have, but something tells me I'm supposed to help. And when you take that even a little step further and you think that through artificial selection, we've kind of trapped dogs in their adolescent period. Like kind of like forever just locked them in as teenagers. Yeah, hence the floppy ears and the puppy looks and the extra muscles in their eyes so they can make them wider. We just kind of locked them in there from an emotional standpoint, from a wild standpoint. So maybe we created, again, this is just me here, and well, it's not just me, because I bounce my stuff off of experts all the time. But maybe if we created perpetual teenagers, like these wolves back here, the helper ones, maybe that gene, that helping gene, is perpetual. And growing forth from that, all the adaptations it takes to living with a human successfully, wow, maybe we do have something that we can hang our hat on there, at least slightly, maybe not all the way. I mean, I'm not sure about you, but I'm not going to place my total trust in true altruism or even apparent altruism in my dog. Even with the auger. I miss the guy. I miss him so much. I told you we rehearsed a scenario that occurred that hot summer night 23 years ago over and over again in case it ever happened. And it did happen. So I'm not going to hang my whole hat on the hopes that a helper gene that enhances the individual fitness is one that our dogs have, that they will forsake their individual fitness and just help mine. But it sure is nice to think of it that way. It really is. And at the end of the day, it is all about lowering your blood pressure. It's about enjoying your dog, coming up with reasons to enjoy them. But guys, we'll talk more about this later. I'm going to hop off of it for a little while. I got some other things I want to cover with you guys. And I got a lot of requests on that. But think about it, okay? Give it a little bit of thought, because it is fun. And at this moment here, unless you completely hang your hat on that and you completely think, my dog will save me when the chips are down, my dog will protect me when no one else will, don't do that. But it's nice to think of it, and if it does happen, sweet. All right, guys, I hope you found this helpful. Just more of a discussion than anything else. This is just me kind of reaching out there virtually and grabbing a bunch of people, sitting them down here right here in front of me, and just having a discussion. It's just kind of asymmetric right now. I'm just kind of doing all the talking here. But send me what you think. Let me know what you think. We'll talk about more of it later. All right, guys, that's it for altruism. Try to do an altruistic behavior today for someone else. Reach out there and try to do it always, every day for your dog. Which, by the way, when you feed them, you are kind of doing that. Keep it up, guys. Keep it rolling forward. I'll check you guys out tomorrow. Goodbye.